tell me, how did you find yourself in this MSP world?
I found myself in the MSP world coming from the industrial engineering world. From 90 to 2000, I was a industrial engineer for an engineering firm by trade, not by schooling, more from the real world, just thrown into it, into the trenches, right? It's a great title there because it started off that way, right? And I started off as a CAD operator out of high school, transitioned that into, lead CAD operator at a small engineering firm that was growing in the early 90s. Transitioned to project engineer, working under some really a great leadership at the time. Project managers that, from great institutions and just hitting it live. So through the 90s, worked on, I have to say, 100 different projects throughout the country for Fortune 500 companies, whether that was Merck Pharmaceutical, Pfizer, Sanofi Winthrop, Campbell Soup. So I could just sort of go through. I can name drop a lot, but that was back in a day when we were working on efficiencies. Same thing we're doing now. We're doing the same thing now that we were doing then, but there it was with machinery, packaging lines, material handling systems. So if you ever had a MoonPie?
I know what they are. Yeah.
So I spent many a months in that factory because we were the selected engineering firm to do the fit out when sales projections there were going to quadruple, and they didn't know how to do it. So we came in and planned the work for them, developed a strategic plan, implemented that, and I was responsible for a lot of the as-built drawings, factory plans, and flow diagrams, schedules, things of that nature. All the project management areas for any type of project. Doesn't really matter if it's IT or if it was, a facility planning. And we would just action. So I did that because I didn't have anything else to do. I would get out of high school. This is what I was, I didn't have a real plan for college that worked. So I had, luckily, in the 80s, I'm taking you back a little bit, right? But in the late 80s, we used CAD Key, which was instead of AutoCAD, before AutoCAD for a drafting tool, there was a program called CAD Key, and my high school happened to have that. And so I gravitated to mechanical drawing, and then eventually that turned into my senior year, getting to play around with CAD Key because I'm a geeky guy. My first computer in 1986.
Sure.
So, I'm a Tandy 1000 SX guy from Radio Shack. If people don't even know what that is, the youngins. So what I did was I parlayed that into a career in industrial engineering. And what happened, the company folded in 2000. And I was their first employee. We grew it to about 28 employees. And it all just went down. Bad leadership, a whole other podcast, right? So I stayed home with my then ex-wife now, but then at the time my wife was having our first child. So I said, I'll stay home and be a stay-home dad. I'll do that. So I did that. 6 months later, I sort of got a little itch. I'm an entrepreneur, and I fired up a company called Techad to take my skill set of drafting and engineering and subcontract myself to engineering firms.
Okay.
So this is 2000, 2001-ish. It's a skill set that engineers still didn't draft. Nowadays, they come out drawing right away. Or you could have systems now draw things for you without, but here we had to do things manual. And that was great. I was making some money at it, but a friend of mine asked me if I could fix a computer for her boss. And I was just handy like that. So I did. And the boss sent me $65.
Hell yeah.
And I went, wow. That was my rate at the time. I was charging for CAD services. And then a week later, she had another problem. I think it was a CD-ROM drive or something of that nature. And I fixed that for her. And voila. I said, I'm switching and I'm doing that. And I turned Techad, a computer drafting services company, into Techad Computer Sales and Support, which transitioned into networking, which transitioned into managed services. Through that journey, my partner now, Randy Carbone, my one partner, I have multiple partners, but Randy's my first partner. Randy and I knew each other from the 90s. Our wives knew each other. He had a company called RC Computers.
Mm.
And RC Computers started right out of Drexel University. When he graduated, he made it part of his co-op. It's a
Mhm.
amazing story there. And through that journey and my journey with Techad and RC Computers, eventually in 2019, we merged everything together and
Mhm.
created E3 IT Services.
Oh,
So
hell
that's how I ended up in this industry
yeah.
of managed services, and started in 2007 with Level Platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Rob
Yeah,
Ray and that stuff. So
that's
we
right.
started using Level Platforms back then, hosting our own server.
Mhm.
And Randy and I would split the console, some of my partners. So we split things a lot for many years until formalizing it in 2019.
Oh, that's awesome. I love these origin stories, and I think a common thread in many of them was, especially guys in our kind of age group, which I think predominant is kind of in that group,
Mhm.
is that I was doing something else, and turned out that I wanted to do something else.
For sure.
And that just kind of like we wake up one day and it's like, oh, I have a business. Oh, people need this. And that just kind of very organic. And I like that even, as you're sitting, at home, taking care of the kids and all that, you identified in that moment as I'm an entrepreneur. Well, according to your story, you had no evidence of that just yet. You just come out of being an employee, but in your
No,
head,
no, no, miss. I can throw into
oh,
the story in
oh, good,
'93.
please.
So
Yeah.
in '93, I turned 21 years old, and
Yeah.
I want to have a company. I work for this engineering firm.
Hmm.
I'm gonna, say I was a stellar employee because I started learning about billable hours
Oh, hell yeah.
and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
I could get drawings done that they might quote 80 hours. I get it done in 25
Nice.
because I was just good at it.
Hmm.
So, but in '93, I wanted to have my own little thing. So I started a company with my two best friends called High and Low Temp. I don't really have told this story up. It was called High and Low Temp. And what I did is, because it's 1993, I'm going to take you back. Do you remember the Logitech scanners were the big thing? Handheld scanning. Scanning was new in 1993. You're using Windows, not 3.1,
Mm.
okay, on a 46DX2, and you were scanning documents and stitching them together. Well, I got
Mm.
good at this. So
Mm.
what I did is I created my own brochure for my own heating and air conditioning company. I still have the brochure. Got a logo, registered a company name, and got it flowed up. And I knew nothing about HVAC, nothing. But
Mhm.
my best friends, they did that in their trade schools, and now they've been doing it for the last 4 years in the trade. So, hey, let's try to do it ourselves. So I put together flyers,
Mhm.
recruited kids in the neighborhood, set up $250 attic fan installations to
Nice.
prime clients, and went to senior housing areas,
Mhm.
people that wouldn't maybe outreach so much, hit
Mhm.
Shopper's Guide with ads.
Yeah.
We did $40,000 in our first quarter of business, and
Nice.
we didn't know what we were doing. Right after that, their friends decided to go to Las Vegas, and we had to shut the business down, get rid of the truck, and dissolve everything. But I
Mhm.
was working, 12-hour days there at ProTech, and then go work 4 to 6 hours. I maybe get 4 hours of sleep.
Mm.
But I
Right.
was 21, right? I didn't really, it was about the journey. And I didn't know where the journey was going to lead me, but I knew I needed to go on a journey. And so that's really where my entrepreneurial journey started.
Okay.
Then I put it down, and then had
Yeah.
a chance again to create one with
Yeah.
Techad, which now has flourished into E3.
Yes. Okay. So you knew you were an entrepreneur at a very young age. It just took some time for it to kind of marinate to say what's going to be the next thing. You had the attic fans, got the real job, then
Yeah.
found your way back to it.
Yep.
That's beautiful. So then you describe yourself as being a techie. So you've got the technical chops and
Well, technical chops are, I'm a high school grad. I've had some college at a community college while I was working real at 21. I had 4 years of engineering experience. I had traveled. Spent a lot of time with American Cyanamid. I mean, I could name drop so many projects because I was the only one working on all of them, right?
nice.
So I started going to college for an engineering science degree. It's going to be an industrial engineer, calculus, linear algebra, differential equations, did all that. and then got married and had a kid and was making money more so than my friends are getting out of college, and I have a full-time job, I just went into life
Yeah.
and said, why I don't really, that credential didn't, I thought I was going to work for that company forever. So I didn't
Sure.
think I needed the credential. Then, and all of a sudden at 28, darn, I wish I would have had that credential.
Right.
Yeah.
And where did you find let's just kind of think 3 or 4 years into the IT firm,
Mhm.
what was the predominant role you were playing? Were you kind of everything, more the tech, more
I was
the
everything.
yeah.
Every billing, I was the technician. I was finding out the problems. I was triage. I was strategic advisor. I was design desk. I was help desk. I was emergency support. I was
Mhm,
everything. But
mhm,
I knew how, what I did is, I think part of my claim to get to where I am is I believe truly in my heart that hard work beats talent when talent isn't working hard.
mm,
And I wasn't the most talented technician because I didn't know. But during that journey at that ProTech, at that engineering firm, I uniquely paid attention to the guy who used to come in and take care of all the computers. So when
mm,
he would come, I was over his shoulder, we were friends, and I learned from him for about good 9 years. And
mhm,
I am connected to him now that all this journey later, he never matured that industry, his business into what it could have been. And here I am now scaling an MSP,
mhm.
but he still has some clients out there. So I'm trying to bring him full circle. It'll be a great story someday, but I've known him for a good 35 years. But I would attribute a lot of, oh, that's how you troubleshoot. Oh, that's how that goes. So he would use me as boots on the ground, as my engineers do in our co-manage arrangements at times. So it's fascinating. He sort of trained me as well when I didn't know I was necessarily being trained. Uh,
Right.
and that's where I got a lot of my knowledge, paid attention to Leo Laporte, if you know who that is out there, anybody listening. And the Screensavers was a huge show for me to be able to just learn and then dive into books and find
Nice.
the answers. So that's really like anything, we need to get an answer quickly. And then I would sort of accumulate those answers so that I could answer them for the other people I was building relationships with
Right.
quicker and build a reputation. And that's how I sort of scaled, like most of us, referrals, friends, families.
Sure.
And just, I showed up with a logoed shirt. I had a business card. I smelled good, looked good from the get-go.
Mhm.
So, perception is reality. I do believe that. You need to have that. So I had that in the beginning. No one knew I didn't know what I didn't know. Right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell me about the moments in time where you kind of start. Oh, there you go. Uh,
Eagles, sorry, Super
there
Bowl
you go.
champions.
Yeah, I think
Got to
you're
plug them in my Philly area.
you're the third Eagles guy this week, by the way.
Nice.
That's hilarious. Tell me about the moment in time where it was that itch to say, I got to hire somebody. I got to get this first employee. Or was it very intentional? Was it accidental? Tell me about that transition from you doing everything to, oh, time to hire somebody.
It's a great story because it's poignant to who we are. Randy, my partner now, was my technical liaison through my journey. What I
Mhm,
didn't know, I bounced off Randy. We built a relationship. We built a billable relationship.
mhm,
So I became a client of Randy's in a
mhm,
sense. And when things got too elevated for me, I brought in, a contractor in a sense. And if it needed to spin a server up or do a data backup or do a thing that needed to happen, that I wasn't, privy to exactly how it worked. And here he was coming out of Drexel University with his bachelor's of science degree in computer science. He knew, and he's
mhm,
brilliant. He's a really smart guy. So I used those resources. And what happened was Randy was my resource. And
mhm,
2007, we both realized, even though I had Techad and he had RC computers, and even if he needed extra boots on the ground for maybe a 10 user deployment, I would go with him and set up systems and do all that work. It was in 2007 we realized we needed to get more proactive. We
mhm,
couldn't keep being reactionary. We could react, but not the way people were wanting. They were wanting more. And there were firms at the time that could give them more because they were already on the journey of what was an MSP back then.
Mhm.
So that's when we researched with level platforms and started saying, hey, let's start using these tool sets and have servers that would fail at our house and just all that craziness. But we went that journey around 2009. I believe it was 2009, 2010. A kid reaches out to me from a technical school called Anthem Institute.
Mhm.
And he reaches out and he says, yeah, I'm graduating this place. And, I'd like to maybe interview if you have any work. And I'm saying, all right, well, hold on a second. I'm really using Randy and he's expensive. Randy was $75 an hour. So if I can get this guy, so I'm have an interview scheduled with him. And Ryan, I missed this kid. His name's Ryan. I missed the interview. I forgot about it because I'm busy. I'm the juggling guy. You MSPs that are solo MSPs out there know that you got all the balls in the air, and I forgot. So he lets me know to this day because he's now my partner. All these years later, he's in the firm. He recently became a partner, and so my first engineer became my operations manager. Is now a partner in the firm. He's been with us for 15 years, but he started at 19. So he is the culture of E3, and he's literally responsible for forcing Randy and I to merge together because what we did, this boy came to us at 19, wet behind the ears, didn't really know much except for what he just learned there.
Right.
Here we're spinning up level platform stuff. So he gobbles it up.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, he can do things that Randy could sort of do that I don't need Randy to do.
Yeah,
so what we did is we literally set up almost like it was a custody of this person. So I had him on Mondays. Randy had him on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Thursdays, we would split them half the day. Then Thursday, Friday, we'd go meet him. Then the next week we'd flip. So you'd always knew what the schedule was and you could coordinate and schedule. This goes into proper planning, technology, road mapping things and knowing where to put things. We were able to at least schedule. And so we could react better to our clients. Have an install on a Thursday, kid shows up at 9:00 because I have it scheduled out probably. So we do this for years and years and years and years and years and years.
Nice.
But that was how we originally knew we needed somebody. He reached out and poked at us. We would have possibly, I know Randy would have, he would agree to this. He would have continued doing it himself. I knew that it takes a little bit more, but I was trying to hound as many dollars as I can and keep them in my pockets. And I know that's one lesson I learned. Don't do that. You got to spend to grow. You don't just, you don't contract. You got to sort of invest.
Sure.
But, that's when we knew we needed our first guy was right about in 2009, 10. And he reached out and it was only maybe, I think we were paying him, a cheap wage, $10 an hour to start. So it was affordable part-time.
Okay. Contractor or W-2?
At the time he was, I think he was, under the table.
Under the table.
So, yeah. So he was, and then eventually became a salaried employee of both of ours part-time. So his stuff never added to 40 hours with one firm. Our sell to him was he gets to put 2 technology firms on his resume if he was to leave in a year or 2, because we figured, we wouldn't get busy enough or he leaves, and we just grew with him.
Right. And so he comes in, he kind of is a catalyst to a next level of maturing.
Sure.
Then we go for some period of time. Tell me about that first W-2 hire and what that felt like.
Well, I would say Ryan was the first W-2 hire. He was our first getting him on books and having the stress of payroll. So having to put someone else that is not immediately your family first, because I would feed Ryan first before I would feed myself because of the responsibility that we've created for ourselves and what he deserved as an employee. So that was a stress that I felt for some time. So that's when I started, which I didn't know now, it's called Profit First. I started Profit First. I started saying, listen, I got to peel profit away every time I get money from a client and put it over here. This way, if I can't make a payroll, I got something to lean on. And I never missed his payroll once. It
Right.
might have been like he was missing the office because he was somewhere else, but I always made sure I made his payroll. And then as time went on, we gave him adequate raising, and now we have a staff of 14. And so now it's a little bit more payroll, but same kind of thing. I learned not to let that really stress myself out. I guess time does that. You figure out after you get established business, you don't have to just keep planning the work and then working the plan.
Right.
The plan will work.
So you kind of working your way through it. We hire our first person. We hire some more people.
Yep.
Tell me what's been
home base. This is all home base at the time. So we're not in an office. Randy mastered working from his home office. I built a house in 2004 and built a lab in the basement to be my home office.
Nice.
So the structure was, because this goes to Arlen, the structure was lifestyle business. What mode we were in was about a lifestyle. It wasn't about building anything or growing. It was just something that accommodated our lifestyle. I always said, and it was back in the 90s and the 2000s, a great business, if you were to rank the top home-based businesses, computer business was always there, because you didn't necessarily need to have a shop, and Radio Shack sold the computers back then and that kind of thing. Okay. So Randy had a really nice outfitted basement lab, and we used that. I used the upstairs of my little Cape Cod house at first, which then evolved into a bedroom in the house I built, which evolved into the basement. Through divorce, lost the house, lost all that. Kept Techad out of everything in my life journey. Everything I kept was custody of my children, 50-50 custody of my children, no alimony, no child support, and Techad. I kept that entity because it was what it is now. I knew it was important. And Ryan was working with me at the time through all those hard times while we transitioned. So then the office went to a porch in the house I'm renting, which then made its way into a garage I fit out to look really good. So now we got into cameras in 2020. People had no idea what we were working out of. I made it look, again, perception's reality. And from there, we ended up getting the building. COVID is really when we end up buying our building. Everybody left. Josh, we do things different at E3. This is why we are where we're at, I believe. Right. Everybody left offices. I said, my partner, Randy, let's go get an office. This is the time. And we went. It was a great move because we found a strategically located building, which then we were able to buy the suite next door as we scaled and fill that out. So that's where our knock is at now. We're in 3,000 square feet in Turnersville and growing. But we're really trying to be super efficient with operations. This comes from my background and the journey of sales as I slowly broke operations a little bit and figured out, wow, sales can really do something to operations, can it?
Oh yeah. Tell me a little bit about the path of growth. What was the path for you all? Was it sales teams? It was and still remains word of mouth? Tell us a little bit about how that's evolved.
All right, so it's 2019. Randy's, let's say he is at the time we give him a title of, we're both 50-50 owners, but he was technical coordinator of the company. Ryan's working underneath of him. Our current strategic advisor, Tom's working underneath of Ryan. Couple, call them tech support people, tier one. So we were a team of about 5. And Randy went to ASCII. Randy's a big ASCII member. He's been in ASCII forever. And so he was out in San Diego, ASCII event. And there's different companies out there soliciting for lead generation, marketing, So he comes back. He'd always come back with some vendors, and him and I would sit and have our leadership meeting. And one of them stood out to me at the time, which was Marketopia. And so we're ex-Marketopians from 2020 to 2024. And used that to scale from 600,000 to 3 million and moving every year at about a good 25% clip. So that's our growth rate. Using that methodology and philosophy religiously for a good 4 years. I think I might hold the record for continuous peer groups on site in Tampa at Marketopia at 15 consecutive quarters in a row, being on site, because I'm a big believer in you have to be present to win. So you be in the room with the leaders. This is where all the magic happens. You're not here, you missed it. So I made sure I didn't miss it. So I utilized all those relationships, all that time, and now we're moving in a little different direction.
Nice.
So now it's a new sales methodology that I'm working, but just getting some recent good success over the last month or two. So
tell me about that.
Yeah. So we've switched over working with MSP Sales Secrets and switching a methodology that's a little different than I would say. Like, there's certain sales philosophies out there. Some I would say, they could stand the test of time, and then some I think have to evolve and change. And I feel in the MSP space, MSP becomes sometimes now could be almost a bad word depending on what office and you're walking into, and you're the ninth MSP. You come in there and go, I'm an MSP. So we're changing and we're becoming business solution providers. So I needed a different way to discuss that with my prospects that they could understand. And so I'm like this. I feel something that I feel can work, and then I go at it and execute. And then so if it doesn't work, if you execute and you have the information conveyed properly, and lots of things can happen. So that's what I've done. And over the last 7 months, it's really turned around. I just signed 3 deals in the last 3 months, about 13,000, revenue. And I've been working at this for 5 months at this new philosophy.
Yeah.
But utilizing the technology of today, utilizing the methodologies that I've learned in the past, and then sprinkling a little bit of my own on there. Like I said, as a softball coach, I've coached a lot of teams and a lot of players in New Jersey, and the ball and the bats around, all that stuff, the bases are there. It's just adding a little extra of your flavor to it, and then executing and then getting team buy-in. I definitely went over a journey from that success at Marketopia. I would not say I was not successful, but I was at a 25% close ratio. And I feel that there's room for improvement there, right, boss? So definitely can increase that. So through my journey in sales, I've really tried to pick pieces from everybody that I'm getting involved with, and nuggets that I can incorporate, and then practice. It was when that clicked for me in 2022 is when I doubled down at Marketopia. I had it might have been 2021. It's 2021. I went about 8 months without no deal signed. Josh, we're spending about, I don't know, $5,000 a month, something like that. And my partner's ready to bail on the whole system. You've probably heard this story a million times. And I said, you know what, man, I'm just not getting enough at bats. I'm not getting enough chances to go and work the play. So I said, we really need more. So I doubled down and went full-time caller, doubled the spend. And he's like pulling his hair out, right? And I eventually landed a deal. It was $1,800 a month, and then built me a little momentum, a little confidence. I said, all right, I keep going at this. So my callers get me more intro meetings and triage calls, as we call them now, and then I just kept working that, building relationships, and through there, the deals that I signed, the fastest deal I signed was 3 weeks, about $5,000 a month. And he prepaid. I got him to prepay. In 3 weeks, I got a prepaid. And then all the one took me 932 days to the close.
Oh, wow. Okay.
so I learned about working a pipeline. I learned lots of things. So now I'm trying to be more efficient with those cycles, and try to build something that is more handoffable. I am the sales team here at E3. So the growth has come from me, and then our team now, just in the last year and a half, working at a service level that I can now feel confident in. My first belief is in sales for me is I have to believe in my product or service.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the service is lacking a little bit, it's in the psyche of the owner. And so that is portrayed everywhere, I believe. But if the service is becoming excellent and exceptional, these are E's, parts of the E's and E3, that we all and have buy-in, and then we implement proper solutions and automations and utilizing artificial intelligence and human intelligence inside our company, sky's the limit. And so we've learned through that journey to get some of the people out, get better people in, stop steering the ship, let the people drive the bus a little bit. And from that, put myself more in an owner's role instead of a operator. So I've done a lot of work in my time physically on the ladders, plus the sales. I would sell it and help install it, micromanage it.
Sure.
It's not the way to success. It's not the way. It's not the way to growth, and it's not the way to level up the people that you really care about. So I've learned that through this journey recently by bringing on a new operations COO. It was a fractional COO at first, and then going through that journey, that cleansing, which was fighting here and there with him, and hang up calls, and then apologizing, and then to the end, becoming partners in this entity. So it's been a really cool journey. What I've learned is that you can't remain the same. You need to change. If you sort of just layer in it, and in this industry, it's even faster. It's happening so quick today, faster than the internet, faster than Y2K, all that stuff. This is honest like that. If you're an MSP, not if you're like a solo MSP, 1 or 2 man shop, and you're not looking to leverage all of the technology around us, and then the professional's already been there, done that, you're missing out. And I feel those peer groups at Marketopia helped tremendously because I was able to build relationships and listen. That's how I learned about Prepaid. There was a guy in my peer group who sold to the 20, good friend of mine. And he does a 5-year deal with a nonprofit, 100,000 a year, prepays the first year. And I'm saying, what? And then just explained to me the logic and how the deal went. And we sat down, at dinner or over drinks, whatever, one peer group. And I said, I want to do that. And so my mental went to 2023 every month, try to get a prepay for every month. So that leverage that cash flow, which we did do. It helped us out. It helped the client out because they got a nice discount by prepaying up front. And we were able to use that capital to scale, to then reinvest in the company. We didn't just put it in our pockets. It's about reinvesting. You're not going to get there to the next promised land if there's a promised land by putting it in your pocket. And I'm talking to many MSPs now that I hear that's what they do. They're at 500,000. They've been there for 10 years, and they're not really seeing what the investment would be if they were just dump all of the revenue. This is one thing Terry did. He dumped all his revenue in year after year for 7 years. That's how he didn't make any money. He was just loading it back into sales. I forget what he said his sales team was, but it was massive at the time. And now we can do it with different types of ways of, lead generation, but still the same premise is there. Invest in your company. And that's what I did. And that's what I did even when my life went bad and I got divorced 13 years ago. I invested in my company. Even then, it was the company first. Do I even have it? Good to Great. Good to Great. All right. So, read that book, everybody. And inside there, it's a classic. And parts of that are definitely that. The company needs to be first.
Right.
And to do that, you need to feed it, and you need to feed it money so it grows. We are in the business where you put money on this business properly, and it can exponentially grow the industry, the business. What I love about this is that now we have 14 people working for us.
Yeah.
I'll call it 13 people. And those 13 people are buying houses now and cars and having families. Ryan's had his families. He's having, he's got his daughter. It's 4 years old now. And we were able to help that. I never thought when I wanted to be that entrepreneur, that was never part, Josh, of my thought that I would be impacting people in a personal sense because we're just doing business helping others, because that's what we do.
That's right.
Right.
I love that. I love that. I know in my own business, I get this very big thrill when, something comes across the desk that a mortgage company needs to verify employment, or somebody went and got a new car, it showed
Yeah.
up. It's just like,
Right.
man, I didn't expect to really feel so awesome about that. Let me ask you this. You've
Yeah.
been at this for a while. Your journey is just really awesome. What's something that, as you're a big believer in change, what's something that you've like, hey, I'm working on this thing, I keep trying to find the right solution, but it just keeps coming back up and up and up again. Is there anything like that for you?
Currently, right
Sure.
now, for me personally, or with the company?
Company wise, I would think. Yeah.
Company wise, I think that's interesting question,
Yeah.
because we seem to be just now humming at cylinders
Yeah.
that I didn't think. I'll tell you a story then, because I'm a storyteller.
There you go.
I'm at Marketopia GrowCon 2023. I'm part of Peer Group A. Peer Group A was the best peer group. We had a
Of
stellar
course.
peer group.
Yes.
And Peer Group A had myself and a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Newton, some others. And I find out Jeffrey Newton is now running the Peer Group B
Mm.
in-person peer group at GrowCon. And so I go into that peer group.
Mm-hmm.
And I go into that peer group to listen to what he has done, because I listened to his journey of exceeding sales in a way that ownership couldn't understand, and then having to fix all that.
Mm.
And so knowing that he was selling, I think it's 60% close ratio. Wow. How do you do in that? So we ended up going into that peer group. And from there was a gentleman by the name of Robert Benton. And Robert Benton, this is where I'm answering your question. Robert Benton was sitting in as a peer. He had retired, sold his company for millions, and was telling, he's only maybe a year older than me.
Mm.
And I'm listening to him. I'm going, whoa, right? So I listened to him, but I could tell his journey, he wasn't done. I listened to him, and I knew he wasn't done. So after that peer group meeting, I went up, introduced myself to him, and him and I had some teams meetings together. And he told me when he knew that the company was going to succeed and was in a space that he didn't need to necessarily do anything
Right.
anymore. He looked up at the board, all the tickets, none of him involved him, all the sales
Right.
team handled. He could
Yes.
not be of actioning in the business anymore, and it's functioning. I'm not there yet, because I am bringing in net new revenue, and that is, my goal right now is to bring new logos in. But that new journey for us is been sort of, cumbersome, going from one sales methodology and now migrating to a new. But tomorrow, brush your teeth with the opposite hand. Do it. I do it and see what that change feels like. It's uneasy at first and it's awkward, but guess what? The outcome is still the same. And so you need to be able to change. So that's been the little roadblock a little bit. But in the last month and a half, sales fixes everything, does it, folks? So that's what I did. Is I really diving into that, and then engaging with the operations team now on the same journey to technology peace of mind, which is what we're offering our clients and our partners. Getting everybody having that buy-in and that understanding is different than when we were all actioning on individual silos.
I see. Okay, I like this. Let me ask you this: and this is a kind of a vaguish question, and you take it however you want to run with it. But I won't expand on it. So, in the business, what's one thing you wish you could take back?
One thing I wish I could take back. Wow. My
Mhm.
goodness. What would I take back? That's a really good question
Mhm.
because I am shaped by tomorrow you will be different, and that shapes me who I am
Sure.
and shapes how we are changing as an organization.
Mhm.
You know what I would take back
Mm.
out of it? Really, the only thing I would take back. Wow, this is a fascinating one that comes to top of mind because I really feel I've hit on cylinders.
Mhm.
I would have merged with Randy sooner. I would have
Mm.
taken back time, the time
Mm.
that I left not merging, no matter what. And
Mm.
that goes to that good old EGO that we
Mm.
all have, especially in
Mm.
this industry. Most of
Sure.
them are, and so that if I look back at that, I would be farther down the journey because I want to buy my time back.
Right.
I want my time back, and I can buy my time back in a unique way in this industry. I get if I get Arlen's emails, thoughts from the
Mhm.
farm every day. I read
Mhm.
through them every day. I interact with him
Mhm.
on a regular because wow, he has done this in a unique way in a unique location with a unique prospecting field,
Mhm.
and he's super successful and now gives back in such a way to the community of people on earth plus the MSP community.
Mhm.
You can learn from someone like him. So, looking at legacy and life and the next levels, I'm not getting any younger, and
Mhm.
I want to be able to afford not just the luxuries of life, but whatever that next weird journey is.
Yeah.
I want a robot. I want a robot. They're not cheap. So, that is where I am trying to in the next 5 years really layer things in. I want to look at others and how they've gone through the journey, and like we've done recently, operations are now handled by a better team of individuals running it. And so now let's build this side of the business up, and then everybody can level up in the company. So we've now have the position for individuals to accelerate through. One thing was really fascinating because you said that I'm in a networking group, and in my networking group, there's an individual who came up to me and was just really loved my energy, and we were
Mhm.
chatting. And he's not he doesn't really have a technical degree in any way, but he's older and he likes sales. And we were talking about things that I think that he should do about slight certifications he could go out and do that would help him. And he's just jumped on it and went and did all this stuff.
Nice.
And it's free, and he just did it. He worked at it. And I got him an interview with our COO. And
Mhm.
I said, wow, well, I didn't think that would happen in my journey of life, that I'm just communicating with people about my journey and it's influencing them in a
Yeah.
way. So it's fascinating. And those are to me, that is the psychic income that you get
Yeah.
from this, that there's no value to it, but and the 5,000 people who will see this someday or in the
That's right.
ether,
Mhm.
that psychic income will come back to us someday.
Well, I'll tell you
Uh,
what. Why don't we start wrapping up with this?
yeah, sure.
Let's get very intentional then. So, if an MSP is listening to this sometime in the future, what's the one takeaway you'd want them to remember?
The one takeaway that I would want them to take from this would be, don't hold back from trying to grow your organization. Take some risks,
Mm.
make them calculated,
Mhm.
plan it out, develop the plan,
Mhm.
and then work the plan and trust in yourself if you're by yourself. But
Mhm.
if you're with a partner, you got to have that trust.
Mhm.
And I learned that from doing that. That
That's
is
right.
from my journey. So if
Oh
I
yeah.
would have taken that advice and somebody told it to me and spun this back to me 10 years ago,
Mhm.
I would just be farther along down the journey. Now, everybody's journey is what their journey is in this moment of time. If you're looking at this in 2025, not
Mhm.
2030, because in
Right.
2030, things are happening so fast.
That's right.
The industry is changing. I see this gap widening between the
Yes.
MSPs, like I'm going to say I was
Right.
in 2020, compared to the MSP we are now. And the only way we did that in 5-year journey was to take some risk, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and marketing
Yes.
and training. I spent thousands of dollars in time, my own life, to go somewhere, to be somewhere, to do something. But all of that will pay off if you put in the work and the time. So that's what I would say to that MSP.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Well, that's beautiful, Ron. Well, listen, I'm so glad you joined. I love meeting new people. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Ron Opperman. And you can also find us online, e3itservices.com. We're located in Turnersville, New Jersey, the Philadelphia market. We've been here for a good 35 plus years, and we're not going anywhere. We're just getting started.
Outstanding, Ron. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh.
All
Appreciate
right.
you, man.